Hey, hi you guys, I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to my workout. We're at Elements Health Club in Springfield, although we have 3 locations, one at West Eugene, one at Springfield, and one at Oakway. And before we go to start talking about what we're doing, this is Sarah behind me. She's going to show us how they clean the bicycles and machines. In fact, at 1 to 2 every day, the whole gym is fogged with this stuff, and I'll have her tell you a little more about that. But if you guys come to any of the Elements Health Clubs in the Lane County area, and you mention Rick Dancer, you're going to get a free month. Yeah. And that's not just the basic membership. That also counts some of the special classes downstairs. So you're going to get a free month because we just want to get people in here enjoying the gym. We've taken all the safety precautions. There's little marks on the floor where you can put your stuff and everything. But here, you got to see this. I want you to see this. Come over here. So Sarah, tell me what this kind of does.
This is a cleaning solution that offers just a light misting of a cleaning. It takes us, I will show you really quickly, but it takes seconds to clean. It mists the products, the equipment. We leave it sit for a few minutes, and then we stack it back up wearing gloves so that nothing's being touched in between.
Okay, so this is really loud, and then we're going to go down, and Rob's going to show us some things you can do, like me, because I broke my wrist. He's going to show us some, he's really versed in this, and I want to show you some of that. So first, watch this. That is so cool.
For 5 minutes, and we do it between every single class.
So every single class, they do that in between so that everything in the room is, you know, sanitized and cleaned. So come here, I want to show you something. So Rob, one of the owners of the gym, he's had a bunch of injuries. so he's like my new friend. And so, you know, kind of elements, one of the things I want to show you through this is that this is not just about looking good, it's about also feeling good. And one of the elements of a great life is also taking care of yourself. So since I've hurt myself, he's going to show me some things I can do, because have you ever tried to work out one-armed? It's not very easy. And I'm getting really bored with doing air squats. So he's going to show me some other things to do, so come on down. You guys, we also have a pool. So if you get your membership, once the pool opens, now we don't know, I think that's stage 3. Phase 3, then the pool will be open. We have a lap pool, and we have an outside pool that's just kind of for family fun. So this is the Elements Studio where they do the jiu-jitsu. I don't do that. Hey Rob.
Rick, what's happening?
We're live. How you doing?
Yeah, how we doing? Can we do this?
Yeah.
We'll do our distance today.
So you guys, this is Rob, and he's been injured more times than I ever care to imagine. I had more surgeries than anyone we know.
It's my biggest accomplishment in life, right? My title.
So one of the things that you were telling me is because I broke my wrist and I'm bored with my workout because air squats just get to be enough. So what are some of the things like a guy like me should be doing?
Yeah. Well, I think that's really common right now with the sedentary lifestyle that our society's seen as of late, and it goes hand in hand with injury as well. So your arm is injured, and it's sedentary now, and now that's leading to your mind, and that's influencing your routine, and then ultimately that routine and how you train is going to start to reconstruct how your body is tied together, right? So you start getting tight, and 2 major points that we really think about with posture correction is going to be the shoulders and what we call the upper cross, and then the hips and the lower cross. These are where your ball and socket joints are, so they rotate and they move and all that good stuff. And if you think of an injury like at a wrist or a forearm, everything is downstream, and it's going to start to work its way up into this upper cross syndrome on his left shoulder, up into his trap and his neck, and ultimately tension and headache, and then that throws off stress and how you deal with everything else. So being able to treat something like this sometimes takes a really creative mindset. It's a lot like
because it's hard to figure out what to do when you're used to your routine and you're going, okay, now I have one hand.
Yeah.
So Rob already talked to me, so what I've been doing is putting weight in this hand and then no weight, but moving it, so at least I'm getting some movement, because he said you need to keep that arm moving, you know.
You know, I think of it like this: a body in motion stays in motion, a body out of motion has a tough time getting into it.
And don't you overcompensate? I noticed this one, because now I have this shoulder working, this side of my body is starting to hurt now because I'm overcompensating and holding everything that direction.
And that's exactly, you know, our body works in in this kind of like a DNA strand is what I envision, this spiral where everything ties together through our body, known as the kinetic chain. And throughout that kinetic chain, you know, that shoulder problem could really be a hip problem, or that wrist problem will ultimately become the neck problem, that later on you forget about the wrist because the pain went away, and pain usually triggers the memory on it. And now it's traveled upstream, and you go, man, I really slept on my pillow the wrong way last night. Now I've got a neck issue. No, it was the other issues months before. So when we look at, like, you know, again, relating this to quarantine lifestyle, a lot of people have seen this where their fitness routine was disrupted and deemed non-essential, and go to your household and do it. Well, you lose track of how to do it. You lose your professionals. I know for me, other essentials, I am not a car mechanic, so I'm going to take my car to that mechanic.
Right.
But when we lose out on our group classes and coaches and training and all of that good stuff, we lose all of that creative input that's coming in and how to keep ourselves moving forward.
Well, and don't you,
right?
when you're at the gym, I think what people don't understand about going to a gym, yes, it's social too, but
Yeah.
for me, it's also, I'm watching people and learning new things,
Yeah.
or the trainer comes through the room and they'll come over and tap you and say, hey, what if you tried this? And you don't get that.
Yeah,
And so it's nice to have that back.
Well, if you look, I mean, well, name a professional athletic team that doesn't have a coach, or a professional athlete that doesn't have a trainer. So if we're looking at the top and we look at, okay, this is what we need to function, and even the best need an outside eye, why wouldn't we as everyday people? But the key in that is not everybody can afford the one-on-one personal trainer and all of that stuff. So, you know, really cool aspect here at Elements is we have a tiered membership, 2 options. At the top, you have the E5 Academy, which we're a group training membership. We specialize in small group training, specific details. We can break down to individual needs within a small group setting. And we're here to really train you for your goals. Now, if your goal is to become an Olympic athlete, awesome. If your goal is to really maintain your health and wellness, even better, right? They can all be trained within this format. And on the second tier, you have the open gym format. So you can come in and for an affordable rate, after reopening, we're reopening at a $79 rate. I mean, it's incredible to get jujitsu, kickboxing, you know, hot yoga, cycle hit, and a lot of advanced programming that really is unique and different to this market. With some professional coaching.
And once they open up and stuff and we're back to normal, what's really cool in here is you got tons of families and kids.
Yeah.
And here, these little kids in here doing jujitsu and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And that's kind of fun. It's brought a whole new kind of life into the gym. Hi, Allie.
Our whole focus is what we call a functional lifestyle optimized. So we want families to train together because we know if you train together, you're going to stay together. And for us, it's the entire package. It's truly a mind, body, spirit piece. I know a lot of people are afraid to mention this word spirit. To me, spirit is your character, your respect on yourself, your relationship with yourself and the rest of your environment. So you come in here and it's very family oriented, but we all train for the best of whatever our goals are. So
Right.
Again, you know, our kids are over here. Our goal with them is to raise them in a lifestyle that they see the value in movement and proper nutrition and learning a healthy lifestyle. So we focus on a little more of an educational direction in the academy. And on the next tier down at a $59 rate, you get our 2 club sport, you know, package clubs here with our group exercise. You get the lounges and the pools and all of those great amenities. And then at a lower membership, we're coming in at a $39 rate, which is now you have all the clubs within the market, including the Oakway Club as well.
Right.
So yeah, some really
So
cool.
show me some
yeah.
stuff that I can do here, Rob.
Awesome. So, you know, a couple things that I really get to is I think machines, again, I see value in all pieces. To me, it's resistance, but how does the body move as our own machine instead of using that external device? So I like to really assess and try to do more body weight based movements. So I use components like suspension training, band resistance work. We'll apply unconventional methods like sand.
And they don't come back on.
And all of these implements allow for a little more creativity and unilateral training. So versus a lot of these machines that put you in a fixed position, right? So you go to shoulder press that machine and both arms press up, right? That's a bilateral machine. So we want to really work on setting your body up unilaterally for success. So one of the devices is known as a suspension trainer. With the suspension trainer, I like them with the Velcro wraps because I can really get creative. Just slide your hand through here. And I'm going to just kind of pull it tight around the arm so that way we're pretty fixed. And I'm actually come down to the elbow. You're okay down here. Yeah. So kind of get it nice and snug. Oh, tying you up on both of them here. Sorry, got the wrong strap on the wrong Velcro.
You know, that's what was happening with my brace. It was like I tried to get going at night, and I was like, God, this thing's killing me.
Man, the braces are the hardest thing
They're
to deal with when you
horrible.
get into an arm or shoulder. Nope, I'm going to have you face the anchor point here, so turn around. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. And now we're just going to tie this one up. Yes, he can use this arm, but we may as well keep it as even as we can. So let's take a step back. And what I want you to start with, we're going to kind of go through the alphabet, real simple. But I use this, even if I'm holding the handles, I use it to prep for pretty much all of my training.
Because now I'm not using my wrist with this.
Exactly, but now we can stay bilateral and symmetrical while still having unilateral ability to be mobile and move. So first thing I want you to do is take your arms overhead. Let's go on the inside of the straps.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can already see, just looking at Rick, what's happening in the shoulders. And prior to this, I watch Rick move. I'm around Rick once a week at least. And he had no mobility restrictions. How long ago was your injury?
2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks, he's already decreased about 20 to 30% of his shoulder range of motion. And it's affecting the shoulder. This piece is the shoulder that's not allowing that hand to get overhead. It's not the elbow and it's not the wrist. So going back to the real problems, the elbow is the dummy joint. It sits in between two rotating joints, being the shoulder capsule and the wrist. And because he's lost mobility in that rotation in the wrist, which is going to be really crucial for him to get back, and circulation, it's caused all of this damage down into here. And it's, like I said, next going to feed into the spine, which is the worst place for him to go to. So I'm going to help Rick solve this problem, get him back to health, and get him moving. So we're going to start with the alphabet. So what I want to do is, first things first, make the hang loose symbol. Hang loose, right? What do we call this? Shakas? Shakas? Yeah. So when you make this hang loose symbol, what I want you to think of is thumb backwards and pinky forward. And what that does is it puts the shoulder in what's known as external rotation. So it's really stable in the shoulder. When we rotate and that palm faces forward or thumb starts to face forward with that shaka or hang loose, and we're in that position, now our shoulders are really kind of like out of socket and they're hanging, and we're in internal rotation and it's an unstable shoulder environment in an overhead position. So what I want you to focus on in all of your overhead stuff from now on is making that shaka, pinkies forward, extend those arms, try to lock those triceps. Good, try to squeeze the triceps, tension. Now let's pull yourself forward with a little bit of tension. Let me rotate this. You gotta get a little creative with the adjustment, but that's okay. So now what I want you to do is, come forward and we're gonna lean back to it, pull yourself up, small range of motion, and let yourself go back a little bit. Body-wise, I want you to think of plank. You're going to be a moving plank, okay? So now I want you to just move in the shoulder, pull yourself up close. I won't touch Rick, of course, right? And we're going to go right here where you're pulling yourself up to it and you're going back. Yes, just that small range of motion, getting that overhead. And I want you to go 5 of those. We're going to call these the broken eye right now, but normally I call these the eye, right? All good. Bad joke. Okay, now we go to the Y's. So now I want you to think of a Y, and let's go 5 reps with this.
That is hard.
Right? Really think of that plank, tight core, hips are neutral. We want to watch that overextension in the lower back or the lumbar, because now that wrist problem becomes a lumbar problem because now we changed our movement pattern. So now we're going to go to T. So this time what I want you to do is actually turn your palms down. We're going to go to more of a neutral position, not internal. And let's just lean back a little bit so you got that tension. And now pull your chest forward and back. And let's keep your hands at a neutral. Yeah, readjustment there.
That's crazy.
Right?
I feel how much I lost.
Yeah, and these little movement patterns, the smaller the movement pattern, the more you start to realize kind of what's happening. So he's super compensating over on this side. So if you would.
Icon here?
No, actually up in this trap. So what
Okay.
I'd like you to do is release this trap. And now start to pull yourself back again. Now, neutral spine in the neck, cervical spine, okay? So the anchor point is up there. I want you to keep your eyes locked on the anchor point the entire time. Bring your hand back up to shoulder height, shoulder level. Now, small range of motion. Pull yourself back and forward. Let it go. Let's get 5 solid reps. Beautiful. 2, 3, last 2. Good. If you're at home, you can really use like a door and an attachment over top. And pulling off of a door frame is really a good place.
My hand feels better.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is he's going to get some
like
circulation.
Yeah.
Again, it's about motion. A body in motion stays in motion. Rick is used to being in motion, okay? Our lives as a society are used to being in motion. We have to keep moving. We have to get back into our lives and our routines and build our immunity to all of these things. Keep mobility.
That's crazy.
Not just physiological, but psychological.
Right. Well,
right?
yeah, and I think that's the hardest part for me is that when I don't get the physical, my psychological mind goes crazy. But that, just by that, I can feel like where things are not right. Let's
go one more. We're going to go M's. So what I want you to do this time, so a couple things I talk about. I was a bodybuilder at one point in my life, and this big tied up mess, and I probably looked like this. You know? We call it the bread basket, like I was carrying the bread baskets. You know, I had this thing going on, and when we rotate out into that position where shoulders are in a constant lock of an internal rotation, we start to get all that stress and that upper cross syndrome I was talking about. So I want you to think palms open, proud chest, and rolling back, right? So keep tension on the straps and eyes on the anchor point. So now I want you to just lean back slightly, straight arms, keep the triceps contracted, let your body roll back. Now I want you to pull your chest forward, open the chest back up, really stretch there.
That
good.
Feels so good.
Perfect. Let's come back. Now come forward, and I want you to think pinching a pencil in between the shoulder blades. That's really going to draw into the rhomboids, which strengthens the upper back, keeps the scapula rolled back into a nice flat back position. If you're noticing like a chicken wing of the shoulder blade popping out, that's usually going to indicate more of an internal rotation and a locked, pronated shoulder, protracted shoulder girdle. Let's get one more in here. I know I'm geeking out a lot on this, but hey, you know, it's about the details, right?
Yep, that's right.
Perfect. Good. Take a rest for a second. All right, I'm going to unstrap him from all this, you know, not fitness bondage or something, you know.
Wow.
Not weird, not weird, not weird at all.
Wow, we have some fun equipment at our gym.
You know, hey, what do you have, you know? Still sitting in that machine. So let me give you a quick demonstration on this one. Let me see how I can.
Oh my God! And seriously.
Okay, we're gonna do.
Better.
We're basically gonna go into the same position. In fact, we'll start here. I think I can figure this one out. This is where we have to get creative. Fitness is half science and half artistry, and that's programming and coaching. If you have a coach, if they know their stuff, that's awesome. Do you enjoy being around them, right? Do you enjoy spending time in that environment? And number two, is it creative to fulfill your needs, right? So science is good, but what's the artistry in the programming, and is it delivering on not only a physiological but a mental level as well? So feet, we'll go about shoulder width here, soft bend in the knees. Now right from here, I'm gonna work pivots on my feet, okay? And I'm gonna rotate. I'm gonna come up onto the balls of my feet, and I'm gonna rotate. Let me get a little more tension here. I'm gonna come back with tension. I'm gonna rotate. Pause. And down. Rotate through. And down. We're gonna get that stretch and rotation in there. He's looking at me like I'm crazy right now. I am a little bit, but that's okay.
I'm a little scared.
Where
did you get training? Right? What camp was it in? Was it a work camp or was it like a prison camp?
There's only one rule there, okay? And there's a movie on that or something. I don't know. Palms forward. Okay. So right from here, feet are, let's take them a little bit wider. Knees are soft. And you're going to think on the balls of your feet, rotate and pivot and look over your shoulder. Let's walk back with a little more tension. Yeah, so we got to keep the tension on the hands.
Okay.
Good. Now from here, let's take the arms. Let's whip them through. Yep. Right here. Perfect. Perfect. Feel the stretch all the way through. Yes. So now we're talking where the shoulder starts to connect down into the hip and where the lats in the back cross over. So this is how we're going to really take it more downstream so that, again, as I talked about the wrist traveling up to the neck and causing issues, now it's going to travel down the kinetic chain to the upper back of the glute, which it really gets tight, causes a lot of sciatic nerve damage on the opposite leg, and then ultimately influencing damage to the hip on the front side. IT band, he's more of an endurance athlete, running, cycling, all of these pieces. If you're in that world here in Eugene, and you have issues with the IT band and that mobility, now I've got him static here for a moment, okay, while I talk. You know what I'm talking about and how that IT band ultimately causes the meniscus damage on the inside, and now running caused your knee problem, right, in that surgery, and now you can no longer live your passion. Well, wrong. It wasn't the running that caused it. It was your mobility and your gait issue that caused it. We can fix that. It's like keeping a car in good alignment. Okay, we're going to release and come back through. Thank you for being kind and letting me talk through that.
No, you know what's so funny? I just ran 7 miles this morning, and my IT band has never hurt in months. And ever since I broke my wrist, my IT band has been, I have to stop every mile and stretch.
Yeah.
And when I just did that, I felt the thing that's been bothering.
Next week, when we get into next week's training, we'll go through some stuff.
So I want to do this.
Let's rotate it all the way through. Take those arms up overhead. Now I want you to drive those hips up. Yeah, be tall. You can even push through the ball of the foot. Now it's really starting to open up that whole front side, front body. The tension on the bands are causing this resistance where it's forcing him into a postural position upright. Now the other key is find that hang loose again. And really try to take that left arm and extend that elbow straight as you can. Both of them punch to the ceiling. Now release the shoulders back down in. Perfect. And ribs down and tight. And let's hold that for a moment. So now we've really balanced out asymmetrical balance. Both sides we've connected. We've added a little more into this side. And really, if you just train both sides, what's going to happen is that weaker side's going to ultimately catch up. And yeah, you may need some isolated type of therapy and work towards it, of course, depending on the length of the damage or the extent of the damage, especially when you get up into more of these ball and socket type of joints, hips and shoulders. There's a lot going on in the rotator cuff and all of the tie-in, right? But again, this is where having a professional coach can really help you integrate into like a smaller group setting. And that's what we focus on here at E5 Academy is professional coaching in small group settings, whether if that's jiu-jitsu or that is, in what we call our ECT classes. ECT stands for Elements Cross Training. So real quick, the E5, 5 stands for the 5 elements. Our 5 elements, really to live, there are 6 essential elements to live. Number 1 is your mind, so mindset. Number 2 is your intake. And really the essentials, the 6 are hydration and nutrition, but here we combine them because they connect. So nutrition and hydration is number 2. Number 3 is your breath. Breath controls your nervous system. If you're a mouth breather, chest breather, you're living in a stage as fight or flight. If you learn how to control your breathing patterns and your nasal breathing, you can control your stress management better. So again, connecting back to the mind. Movement and mobility is number 4, absolutely crucial. And then restoration, sleep. We need sleep, we need rest. We need all of these beautiful hormones and endorphins that come in when we rest and let our bodies chill, okay? Hopefully you got a lot of that on quarantine, but the problem is we come back around boomerang to number 1, which is the mind and the mental and the sedentary piece really affects that. So, again, as you're getting back out into things, ease through it and think about those 5 elements. Hopefully you check us out. Perfect. As I kept the statue there. That was his static piece. Now we're going to work through just one more thing just to loosen you up a little bit for today, and then we'll finish with that. This is already going to be a lot. He's going to feel, because he's been put into such good alignment, that he's going to feel like what I call the can of worms, okay? You're kind of in this stage where I just opened up a lot in that shoulder. So for the next couple of days, there's going to be some inflammation you need to manage. So, of course, you've gone through therapy on how to manage the inflammation, so I don't need to address that right now. Okay, let's we'll kind of be together. So let's take our feet out to about shoulder. Let's come over here for a second. We'll get more of these things. So, we really integrate not only more modern therapies of unconventional training, as I mentioned, through all of this stuff, and technical, but I also believe in the ancient arts of yoga, Qigong. We practice jujitsu. We have many martial artists at a high level here. So we're going to work in like a little bit of structured Qigong. So we're going to go palms up. Imagine, we call this the teacup. So imagine you had a saucer and a teacup here, okay? And we're going to take our right hand, and I want you to look at that teacup and bring it up. And I want you to bring it around your head and keep it up. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Now keep it up, keep it up. You're going to rotate inward. Keep it up, bring it around. And this one we'll just kind of try to like hold here as well. Right? Okay, let's go 5 times. Let's rotate that up and around. Around. Good. Back through. Just take your time. Feel that motion. What are you feeling in your body?
That feels good.
How is that connecting
down
to your hip? So start to intuitively understand what's happening.
What am I doing here now?
So, no, you stay down. You dropped the T, you made a mess.
I dropped my T.
There we go. Rotate it out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, bring it back up and around.
It's like a mind game.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine that, where we talk about with the 5 elements and mind being number 1. Anytime I've assessed a client or whatever through my 25 years in this world, it always comes down to the assessment as an individual to work within that group. There we go. Back through. Excellent. Pass it off. There we go. Yeah, okay.
This
is going to be the interesting one. Let's bring it up and around. There you go. Good. Keep that palm up. Now start to come down low. Yeah, bring it through. Good. Beautiful. We're going to start to really open this up and let his body's natural movement and kinetic chain really start to flow. And this is really going to start to get more of his primal, intuitive, natural motions restored back into his body. And connecting from that wrist in that, what I call that DNA strain of kinetic chain. It's a spiral that wraps all the way through the body. Here we go.
That's an effort.
One more.
But it doesn't hurt. It's like
tight, right?
It hasn't been, it's really tight. That is so crazy.
Back through.
Oh,
yes, sir.
That is just crazy.
Yeah, right? Some of these pieces are just, even fun to mix it up. And we've got to be a little more lighthearted with this stuff. And I think, I spent my younger years really obsessive and controlling as a bodybuilder and was a wrestler and then a bodybuilder. And everything was like yang, 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 yang. And I'm like finding a little more of the yin in my life at this point, which is offsetting. And I think as we get older, I still want to push it. I want to go. I want to feel myself. I want to keep my body durable and healthy. But at the same time, I need to be mindful. And I need to be creative because it gets old,
And
too.
I think as you get older, what I'm noticing is the flexibility and balance is so important.
Yeah, so I really look at, that term of flexibility is one of 10 general physical skills of the human body, which is our cardiovascular endurance, muscular stamina, strength, and flexibility are all organic by nature. They require blood, oxygen. And then we have power and speed, which start to incorporate the nervous system. And then we have our final 4, which is agility, accuracy, coordination, and balance, which create our 10 general physical skills. And then from there, so flexibility is 1, strength is another. I associate strength with stability, and that balance is that yin and yang. Stability or strength is the yang, and the yin is the flexibility. And you need to have that full spectrum, so those joints and the muscles around them need to be strong and durable, but at the same time, they need to be loose and fluid and mobile. You go back to like some of our Bruce Lee thoughts of what's a bamboo tree like versus an oak, and bamboo is stronger and smaller and thinner. So being mobile, and if you look at a fighter, the old day of what we used to think, the bodybuilder's going to smash everyone. No, now it's the like,
Yeah,
100-pound guy,
Yeah,
that's 6
okay.
foot tall that you have to worry about, you know. So yeah,
Bob, thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
So guys, again, we're at Element Fitness, and in case we didn't explain this earlier, I broke my wrist in a mountain biking accident, and so that's what's caused all my, well, that's not my brain to be off, but that's caused my body to be off. My brain has been.
I don't
that way
know.
for a
I
long
said
time.
something about that through this.
Yeah, and again, so Elements Health Clubs is offering a free 1-month membership to their gyms, West Eugene, here at Springfield, and also at the Oakway Center, or Oakway. So all you got to do is walk in the front door, tell them, yeah, I saw this on Rick Dancer, or mention somehow Rick Dancer, and then you can get that month free, and then we know you're going to come back for more. So I'm Rick Dancer, it's Get Real. Rob, thanks for being here. Elements Health Club, thanks for sponsoring our show. Tim, thanks for shooting the video, because it's really hard to do that and that at the same time. And share this on your page. There might be somebody out there who's just dealing with stuff because they're sitting around and need some stretching.
Come see us.
Yeah, come in and talk to them.
Yeah.
All right, have a good day. See you
Take
later.
care.